It was 7:45 in the morning on February 27, 2002. Godhra railway station in Gujarat was bustling with its usual morning activity. The Sabarmati Express pulled into the platform, completing a long journey from Uttar Pradesh. The train was carrying well over its normal capacity, filled largely with car sevaks, religious volunteers returning from ceremonies in Ayodhya. During this brief halt, tensions flared. Minor arguments and physical altercations broke out on the platform between the returning passengers and some local residents. The train eventually began to move, but it did not get far. Just past the outer limits of the station, near an area known as Signal Failure, someone pulled the emergency chain. The heavy metal wheels screeched to a halt. This sudden, unscheduled stop left the crowded train isolated on the tracks, exposed and entirely vulnerable. Almost immediately, a large crowd gathered outside the stationary coaches.
The confrontation escalated rapidly as heavy stone pelting began striking the exterior of the train. In the chaos, a fire broke out inside coach S6. Within moments, the enclosed space was consumed by intense heat and blinding smoke, triggering absolute panic among the passengers. Escape was nearly impossible. The doors were jammed shut, and the heavy iron grills on the windows trapped the passengers inside the burning carriage. By the time the flames were extinguished, 59 innocent people had been reduced to ashes. Among them were many women and children. The sheer brutality of the event paralyzed the country. The immediate question was whether this horrific fire was a spontaneous tragedy or a premeditated attack. In the days that followed, the actual physical evidence was quickly buried under a flood of conflicting media reports, rumors, and political narratives. State authorities and police put forward one distinct claim: that this was a carefully orchestrated conspiracy where petrol was deliberately stockpiled to ignite the train from both inside and out. Looking at these competing claims, an opposing narrative emerged from citizen committees, framing the fire as an accidental occurrence. These polarizing claims created a vacuum of truth, leaving the deeply divided public in the dark about what happened. But historical truth cannot be built on early speculation. Finding what really occurred required peeling away emotion and relying strictly on forensic, objective proof. To cut through the noise, the Supreme Court of India intervened. They appointed a Special Investigation Team, or SIT, giving them a strict mandate to ignore political pressure and focus on forensics and eyewitness testimonies. The SIT spent years meticulously analyzing the physical evidence. They reconstructed the crime scene, vetted thousands of statements, and slowly built a timeline based solely on hard facts. In 2011, the Special SIT Court delivered its verdict. They convicted 31 individuals for their roles in the attack, while acquitting 63 others due to a lack of evidence. Crucially, the court legally recognized the fire as a pre-planned conspiracy. The case eventually moved to the Gujarat High Court in 2017. The High Court upheld the core finding of a conspiracy. They commuted 11 death sentences to life imprisonment, while sustaining the life sentences of the remaining convicts. Through this exhaustive legal process, the premeditated burning of the Godhra train was firmly established as an undeniable matter of judicial record, completely separate from public opinion. The tragedy, however, did not remain confined to the Godhra railway station. By the very next day, the violence spilled outward. Massive communal riots and fierce retaliatory violence erupted simultaneously across multiple districts in Gujarat. The human cost was devastating. Communities fractured as thousands of lives were lost, and countless more people were forcibly displaced from their homes. The combined trauma of the Sabarmati Express burning and the subsequent riots left a permanent, painful mark on Indian society and politics. The deaths in coach S6 triggered a catastrophic chain reaction, cementing a deep divide in the region's political and social landscape for decades. Looking back at such deeply contentious and painful history requires a specific framework from those trying to understand it. It requires a deliberate effort to separate raw, collective emotion from thoroughly tested evidence. True historical clarity is only found in legally tested facts, isolated from political spin and early rumor. Ultimately, the only way to genuinely honor the 59 innocent lives lost on the Sabarmati Express is to look at their tragedy through the sober, impartial lens of documented truth.